Hello and welcome to the third video in the Gluten-Free 101 series. This video is on gluten-free shopping, and like all the other videos in this series is for informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional dietary or medical advice. Alright, let's get into it. If you've been following a pretty typical Australian diet until now, possibly never looking at food labels, gluten-free grocery shopping is going to be a whole new way of looking at the world of groceries. In this video, I'm going to discuss what to consider when you are shopping from now on. So on your shopping list, the naturally gluten-free foods will continue to be there. So things such as whole unprocessed foods like fresh fruit and vegetables, plain meats without stuffing or marinades, plain fish, eggs, nuts, seeds, plain cheeses, and more. But even within those foods, you will need to check the labels if they have one to inform yourself of what is in them. For example, nuts and seeds can be packaged with a may contain statement under some brands, but not under others. So it's at your discretion whether you decide to eat the products with this label or not. And secondly, they may have a seasoning or flavoring on them that contains flour or other gluten-containing products. It will be extra work at the beginning as you familiarize yourself with what exactly is in all of the foods that you want to be eating, and the foods that you may have been eating for some time, possibly without ever even looking at the label. But as you work out which foods are on the eat list and which foods are on the do not eat list, as you get familiar with reading labels and as you learn where in the supermarket are the gluten-free products or the gluten-free sections and which shops are better at catering to gluten-free eating and which are not so great, your shopping experience will gradually become more efficient again. If you haven't yet watched the video on labeling, now would be a really good time to do that, to educate yourself on how to read the labels of these products that you'll find when you're going to the supermarket. These are going to be the best guide that you'll have to know exactly what is in the food, such as whether it's got gluten or not. One thing that I've learned from years of label scrutiny is that you can never assume that a potato chip is just a potato chip. Companies love to put all sorts of weird and not so wonderful ingredients into their food to make it taste better, look better, last longer, and often in addition to what seems like a plain and simple food, there is often the culprit ingredient of gluten. I call this hidden gluten, as it isn't clear from the main ingredients of the food that it would contain gluten. While products that are labelled gluten-free should legally be safe for a celiac to consume, I highly recommend that you still read what is in it to ensure that nothing was missed, because humans aren't perfect and neither are labels at times. Products labelled with the Celiac Australia endorsement label have been reviewed and approved by Celiac Australia as suitable for a gluten-free diet. This can give some assurance that the product can go on the eat list. So you can search their website for products with this approval whilst you're writing out your shopping list. When you go food shopping, you may decide to simply replace things that you were eating that contained gluten, such as bread, croissants, pasta, and crumb chicken, with the gluten-free alternatives. The food themselves may look and taste similar, can taste similar, but this is usually where the similarity ends. So one of the significant differences between gluten-containing and gluten-free products is the gluten-free tax. It's not a real tax, but it sure feels that way when almost every gluten-free substitute has a higher price tag on it than its gluten-containing counterpart. If you completed your normal food shop, but with all of the gluten-free substitutes, you may find your grocery bill has just risen significantly. The other difference is the nutritional content of the food. I discuss all of this more and more in great detail in the bread versus bread video, so make sure you check it out too. In the supermarket, there may be collated gluten-free products in certain sections, like the health food section, or at the end of the bread section, or in a specific bay in the freezer section. So familiarizing yourself with where the gluten-free products can be found will help to make shopping faster in the future. However, some supermarkets have started to distribute a variety of their gluten-free products throughout the store in the corresponding area, such as breakfast cereals, biscuits, and chips, which are now in with the gluten-containing products. It may be worth asking one of the staff where they have their gluten-free products in the store. Some things to look out for in the supermarket are the possibility of cross-contamination. So this may happen in the deli, as both gluten-containing and gluten-free products are displayed in the same cabinet. Food may drop into the gluten-free food as staff are handling it, and they may not change their gloves or the serving utensils between getting foods that are gluten-containing and non-gluten-containing. And the foods may be sitting even next to each other. So the deli foods often come with a may contain statement, as do the bulk bins, or the pick and mix. So as these foods are exposed to consumers who may use the same scoop for different bins, or the foods get put back into the wrong bin, Again, even the gluten-free by ingredient foods come with a may contain statement. These bulk bins are also seen in health food stores or bulk food stores. So some health food stores I've been to have like dedicated labeled scoops for the gluten-free foods, and one would hope that other people are aware and don't use anything but these dedicated scoops. But again, it is up to the individual with what they're willing to consume and what they aren't. As you familiarize yourself with what gluten-free foods are out there, you'll be able to plan better your shopping list and your budget. So know that as with all products, things can change. Product formulations and ingredients can get updated, such as recently one of my favorite frozen meals just got new packaging, but it also got a new recipe. So it was almost the same product, almost the same meal, but they've now added gluten. So while the company is shouting its praises of the new and improved recipe, I am disappointed to read the label and see that it now contains a sauce that has wheat in it. And so that product is now on the do not eat list. So regularly check that the food item is still the same. And if you notice anything change, such as the price, the packaging, the allergen warning, etc., this is a clear prompt that you should recheck the label. Joining celiac groups online can also be another way of getting this information, as others share their grocery shopping discoveries with the celiac community. The internet, with all things, has a plethora of information and resources around foods that are gluten-free. You can search company websites to look at their ingredient lists. People have created websites with up-to-date lists of gluten-free foods, and there are some gluten-free only shops online. There are social media groups and support groups where people share information. And as I've said, and will continue to say throughout this course, take the information and do with it what feels right for you. It may be a guide and help you to find foods that you didn't know were gluten-free, or to help you decide what to try. But always do your own due diligence. Always do your own research. And make sure that you have the information you need to feel at peace that you're looking after your own body. In summary, gluten-free shopping may require a new approach. Learn to read labels carefully. They can be your best friend. Celiac Australia endorses products which can provide added assurance. Replacing gluten-containing foods with gluten-free versions can be more costly and nutritionally different. Familiarise yourself with where in your local shopping supermarket the gluten-free products are stored. Be aware of cross-contamination risks in the deli and bulk bins, and use company websites, online shops, and social media groups for gluten-free product information.